This podcast is supported by 23andMe.ca, a personalized genetic service available in Canada. 23andMe reports provide genetic information based on a small saliva sample. Canadians can learn about their genetic information that published studies have associated with conditions and traits like celiac disease, cystic fibrosis, and even response to certain medications. More information is available at 23andme.ca.
Welcome to the BS Show. Are you ready to shoot the... The BS Show would like to thank their sponsors. Jack Cameron, accredited mortgage professional. Jack can show you the way home. Graco Impact Sports, providing top quality combat sport equipment tested and used by all levels of athletes. Dominate your world. RepoSales.ca, specializing in vehicle and equipment recovery, liquidation, and sales. Hemmings House Pictures, the global movement media makers, helping tell your brand story to the world and accelerate the momentum of your movement. Farmbox Films, capturing stories the way you want to remember them.
Greetings, fellow humans. Welcome back to the BS Show, the one, the only podcast dedicated to combat sports and mixed martial arts in Atlantic Canada. I am your host, Boyd Sharpe, joined as always by the trash man, Mr. Rick Trash Canyon Doyle. Rick, how we doing?
Hanging in there, my short-peckered friend. Happy to get this show underway. Pretty excited for tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. Going back into the sweet science for a little bit. Going to recap a little bit of Elite One action. What's been on your mind lately?
Not too much at any given time, Boyd, because whenever I learn something new, it pushes something old out, so I try to keep it simple. This is going to be a highlight night for you because we're seeing a bit of a growing point for the BS Show that you've actually got correspondents at this point. Congratulations.
Yeah, actually, I am actually super stoked about that. I have done almost no preparation for this show, which is unusual. Usually I have to do at least a little bit, but I haven't really done a whole lot because we had Amy Pidt cage side at Elite One last weekend, and we have Dana Dickeson, who is the head trainer out of Synergy in Fredericton, New Brunswick, also reached out to me and said he'd love to sort of keep an eye on what's happening in New Brunswick from a MMA combat sports perspective and give us some info on what's going on up there. So both of them are going to join the show, and it'll really be their show for the first half. So yeah, it's pretty awesome that we've drawn some other people into our world and going to enable us to do an even better job of promoting the sport in this area.
Yeah, that's great, Boyd, and it's going to be really good to hear from those two that have a great knowledge of this sport and give us an actual breakdown of what happened up there on the weekend. And then you're looking at doing some boxing tonight as well, eh?
Yeah, we're going to have on up-and-coming boxer that you and I have had an opportunity, number one, to train with, and number two, to see compete professionally a little bit in the past couple of years. That's Jesse MacMillan. And obviously we'll have on the uncrowned world champion, Mr. Tyson Cave, who's got a fight coming up at the end of the month, and I think another one in May or June. So he's staying active, just waiting for his next shot to go back and take that title that everybody knows is rightfully his.
Really looking forward to that interview. Tyson is always a good chat, so I expect nothing less out of him tonight. So what's been new in your world, Boyd? You've been doing a little bit of rolling, I understand?
I was doing a lot of jiu-jitsu there for a while, and then my wife had to go on business down to the States. She was in Nashville for a couple of weeks, so I wasn't getting any training at all, just taking care of the three kids and the house. But, yeah, I've been getting back in again this week. Did 2 hours of open roll with the fine young savages at Titans yesterday, and then did a half-hour private with Peter. Came home basically like a bag of hamburger meat and had to soak in the Epsom salts bath and go to bed. I tell you, man, jiu-jitsu is an awesome sport, but it's rough on a 40-odd-year-old body, I'll tell you.
You would think I would get sick and tired of listening to you whine and cry, but it still brings me amusement every time I hear it. Skip, it's great to have you back in the ship tonight. Welcome back, my friend.
Oh, hey, I missed you guys. You had a great show. We were rocking you out on the coast. It was wonderful, man. I'm glad to be back where I belong on the producer's seat.
Glad you had that break, though, Skip. You deserve it, brother.
Thank you, sir. It was a great holiday.
Nobody deserves it more. And the reason that, Skip, that Boyd's been doing so much rolling lately, we haven't talked about this, but there's something that comes up every now and then within the club at Titans, and it's a blue belt competition, basically. And so what it is, they have two groups that take BJJ at Titans. You have your beginner class, which is all your white belts, and you get your stripes and that type of thing, and then when you get accepted to go to the advanced class, then you can move on up. But what they're putting on, and they've done this in the past, is all of the white belts are going into a tournament. There are two weight classes in it, from the best of my understanding, and there'll be two blue belts given at the end of this tournament. So it's all within the club. Pretty unique situation. So Boyd's been getting ready for that.
Two things. One, congratulations, Boyd. And calculator, if you're listening, I need a spreadsheet with the odds. I'm in the pool. I'm betting I got Boyd.
Well, he's got my support, and nobody deserves it more. And if you look at where Boyd started from and where he's at now, it's the difference is day and night. And whether he wins or loses that tournament, he is a winner. So best of luck to you, my friend.
Thanks a lot, brother. I know those young guys. I think I was rolling the other day with them, and I think the closest guy to my age was 18 years. So I told Peter, teach me some real dirty old man stuff. So he's been passing on a few little tips and tricks that'll hopefully keep me one step ahead of those young bucks. We'll see how it goes.
Salt of the eyes works every time, brother. Take it from me.
Yeah, I might have to give you a call, take you for a coffee, and get some of those old pro wrestling tricks, Rick.
That's right. All right.
We're gonna bring Amy and Dana in now and revisit the Elite One card in New Brunswick last week. But before I do, I just want to point out something unique about this for a podcast or talk show. We have the four BS show hosts and correspondents here, and all four of us are professional fighters. That may be unique in MMA podcasts. Skippy, can you think of another outfit where basically everybody who works for the show is a pro fighter?
No, because everybody I know has either one or two guys that are just media and that's it, or they have amateurs that that have stepped in the cage once or twice just to try it out, so that they could say they were part of the scene. But I don't know anybody who has all fighters like you guys. No, I think Amy's
fought amateur only, but other than that, Dana, Rick, and myself have all fought pro at least once. So that's just a cool little feather for the BS show hat. Anyway, without any further ado,
the calculator to get Boyd. That's another stat for the calculator to dig up.
Yeah, that's right.
Now that he's in love, we don't see him anymore. But
we'll have to get him to add that to the Wikipedia page. Okay, without any further ado, let's bring in our two correspondents from New Brunswick to find out a little bit about how that Elite One card went in New Brunswick last week. Amy, let's start with you. I think you had the absolute best seat in the house. Question number one, did you get any blood on you?
No, I didn't, and I made sure to cover my beer, though. That was really what I cared about. I just didn't want it in there, right?
Yeah, you were right there, absolute cage side. What was your impression of the whole event, say, starting with the weigh-ins on the Friday?
Well, the thing about it that I found is it's like they didn't skip a beat. It was so organized. Mike Williams, the promoter, did an amazing job. It's like it wasn't shut down at all. Like it was just back on flow. It was so good. It was so organized. The number of fights wasn't maybe what they wanted. There were 7 fights, but they were so perfectly matched. Like it was really good. It was really good fights. A lot of them went to decision. Like it was long fights and just good matchups. So it was a good show, organized. There was no lags. Everything went like tickety boom. It was just really, really good.
Awesome. That's great to hear. Dana, what was your impression of the event?
Much the same, Boyd, honestly. I had a bit of a different seat than Amy, although I did see her right there. I was backstage, because I was cornering Adam in the main event. But I did have a chance to watch most of the fights on the TV in the back, and also just, the excitement from not only the fans, and the energy in there was tremendous, but the buzz out back in the locker room was awesome. I had a chance to mingle and see a lot of familiar faces there. And like Amy said, it felt like we didn't miss a beat, except now, maybe with that caveat that things are going to be a little better now.
And how were things from a commission perspective? Was there any different feel to how that was run? Could you tell that there was sort of a different principle in the building, or was it sort of same old, same old?
Yeah, I mean, I saw a lot of the same faces that we used to see as far as, volunteering, guys like George Hennessy and guys that have been around for a long time. Graham, the old commissioner, is now working for Elite One, so he's still there and heavily involved. I did have a chance to kind of just briefly speak with some of the new commission members, and they seem really on the ball. I mean, it's super exciting to think that these people have an interest now in growing the sport in the province, and I think that was a great chance for them to see just how legit it really is.
Super. Yeah, I couldn't agree more on that. I think that's what it was. I think it was a great meeting for the beginning. It was a great first show. It was great for the commission just to get things off on the right foot.
Yeah, agreed.
Do either of you know? Do either of you know exactly how many people were there? I know it wasn't a total sellout, and that's a pretty damn big room, depending on how they set up the seating. I think there were still some tickets available right up to the event. Do you know how many people they actually had in the seats? And sort of what was the faces that you were seeing? Was it the same crowd, Dana, that you're used to seeing at the fights? Was it new people? What was the crowd like?
Yeah, I kind of had a chance to just step back and survey the crowd. One of my favorite things is what the crowd brings to the fights. And, Boyd, I think it holds around 2,500 people at capacity with that setup. I mean, that number may be wrong, but it's somewhere around 2,000 or 2,500. And honestly, 4 out of every 5 seats were full in the bleachers, and the floor and the tables were packed. So, there were a lot of people there, and they brought a lot of energy, and it was really an eclectic crowd. Every fighter seemed to have their own little cheering section. And then, a lot of the faces you used to see in the old scene, but also a bit of a younger crowd, too, that maybe were inspired by the new buzz around MMA.
Awesome. My question is completely leapt out of my mind. Oh yeah, I was gonna see if Rick wanted to chime in with anything specific before we talk about the individual fights specifically.
Absolutely, I sure would. Thanks so much, Boyd. You're an absolute dick because you just took every question that I was going to ask, and you knew the questions I was going to ask before this interview because we talked about it. So you really got me this time, I must say.
Rick, I got to tell you, there's one thing you got to know about me is I only know what I'm going to say when I hear it come out of my mouth. So.
Yeah. Well, I'll take my medicine this time. My question for you guys, I'll start with Amy. How did you find the overall quality of the fights? And I want you to stand back and look at this as a fan, not a professional fighter. Was the general public entertained with what they saw?
Oh, 100%. When like Dana was saying that it might not have been completely sold out, it may have been 4 out of 5 seats, but with the enthusiasm in there, it was oversold. Like, it was loud. Everyone was loving it, and every fight, like the matchups that he did were spot on. So it gave everybody so much excitement. All the fights were good. There was a good mix of stand-up, a good mix of ground. The beginners, there was a couple amateur debuts, and I couldn't believe that it was their first fights. Like, it was awesome.
And how did you find the actual show itself, the presentation? Did they have lights? Did they have cameras, the videos, the whole 9 yards? How was that put together?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Elite One does a great show, so they had everything. They'll have it filmed. I think it'll be on the Fight Network. I'm not positive about that, but I think that's what they do. They had all the lights, all the bells, all the whistles, all the cameramen. All the cues were right, all the lights were right. It was just done so good. It's like I said, they never missed a beat.
Okay, awesome. Do you know what the ticket prices were for the show?
No, I didn't care.
Amy was enjoying her free seat. She said, "Screw all you paying people." Sorry, what was that?
It was $55, I think, for the regular seats, and there's not a bad seat in the house there. The seating arrangement's excellent, and you just add to what Amy was saying. When we first started fighting at the casino, they were showing us around. They have a huge control room there. It's a well produced show and a multi-million-dollar light and sound system. It's pretty impressive, and if you haven't taken one in there at the casino, it's pretty legit. It really is.
Yeah, our sponsor of our show, Martin Blaze from Agro Photography, he comments all the time about how much he loves to take photographs of sporting events in that room, whether it be boxing or MMA, because he said the lighting is just phenomenal. He can just squeeze every last pixel out of his camera. So you're just echoing exactly what he said about that room.
Nice. Well, he does a tremendous job, that's for sure.
I've got a couple of questions here for Dana before we move on, Boyd, if that's okay.
Sure, bud.
Give her, brother.
Dana, the first question, were you in the locker room or were you outside of the ring? Were you involved backstage?
Yeah, I was backstage most of the night. Now, because Adam was in the main event, we had a private locker room. But actually, we shared that with Justin Bourgeois, and that meant Jeremy Henry and Jericho McPhee were both in there with us as well. So we had a good scene in that locker room, and also a TV to watch all the fights. And just being my typical self, I spent lots of time out back mingling around as well. I like to get a chance to shake everybody's hand.
Now, as far as the dialogue, the flow backstage between the fighters, the teams, and the officials, was that fairly smooth? Were there new faces in the backstage to watch the gloves be wrapped and to escort the fighters out, or did they know what they were doing?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually found a good mix of experienced people back there that had been to previous shows, and then some new faces as well. But even the new faces, Rick, they didn't skip a beat. I mean, they really, really had their stuff together. I know I was expecting, the saying, you hope for the best and prepare for the worst. And you never know when something new is rolling out. But it really, just to echo what Amy had said earlier, just from top to bottom, it went really smoothly.
Yeah. What did you find as far as the advertising leading up to this show? Were they going after the general public that maybe hadn't gone before, or did you find that the advertising was directed more towards the gyms and to get the guys out of the gyms to go?
Well, we're in Fredericton, and we didn't see much advertising other than the typical sort of social media buzz that was around it. Amy, you might be better prepared to talk about that, what it was like around Moncton.
Yeah, absolutely. They did a great job, actually, more than I've usually seen. So they do C103, which is, a great station. Also, they had a lot of billboards up this time, I noticed, a lot more on the main drags even. Riverview, I'm just kind of outside Moncton on almost a suburb, and they had the billboards advertising up here even too, so I found they did a lot more just to hit the whole town this time. It's really good.
Nice. And by billboards, you mean like the great big sort of highway style billboards?
Yeah, they went all out this time, all out.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations to Mike and all the guys. Super glad that MMA was coming back anyway. But to hear that they hit a home run on their first show, like you said, with the exception of maybe losing a few too many fights and having a bit of a light card. But we all know how difficult it is to pull these things together and get all the guys in the cage. And before we break down the fights that did happen, did want to talk real quickly about Ryan Potter and Jeffrey Griffiths, a fight that did not happen. And we foreshadowed this last week because we were saying Ryan Potter, an absolute professional and one of the nicest guys in the sport, had his previous 7 fights fall through because his opponent pulled out at the last minute. And his opponent, Jeffrey Griffiths, if I'm not mistaken, pulled out 24 hours before weigh-ins, or even less than that. Amy, Dana, do you guys have any insight on that?
I think that was the situation. And like you said, that Ryan Potter, when I first saw it, my heart broke. I was like, oh, dude, like number 8. I'm like, no. But he was at the show and enjoying the show, and just a really good guy. Like, just really deals well with that, I guess, experience, right? But I want to see that guy get a fight really badly.
Well, Ryan is one of the most zen guys you ever met in your life. So if there was anybody who was going to handle that with grace, it would be him. But my heart just absolutely broke for that guy. I got to say, Dana, did you hear anything about what happened or why Jeff ended up pulling out?
You know, I the first person I saw when I pulled into the hotel on Saturday to catch up with Adam was John Foster and Ryan standing out in the parking lot. So I did have a chance to chat with them. And like Amy said, I mean, the guy's got a great spirit, and I feel bad for Ryan. He's such a talented fighter. And, I mean, maybe that scares off some guys that, just aren't willing to put in the work to be prepared. It was his impression that Jeff wasn't going to be able to make the weight and just didn't get there in training to where maybe he wanted to be. And I don't know from Jeff. And, I mean, I know Jeff, from being around New Brunswick in the MMA scene. And Jeff's a really nice guy, but I know that things get in the way of training sometimes. But it's just important to just reiterate to guys out there that maybe are listening and have aspirations to fight. If you say you're going to show up to fight, then show up to fight, because it affects everybody. It affects the promoters, and it affects the guy that is across from you putting in all that hard work. So, those are the things. The reality starts to sink in as the fight draws closer, and we all have those doubts when we're leading up to that. And, it's nice that, Boyd, like you were saying, we have that experience to draw from. But you just got to swallow it down and your fear and step in there. And it's hard for some guys to do, I guess.
Hear. Well said.
Well said.
So I rehearsed that one all afternoon.
Nice. Rick, you had something else?
Yeah, well, honestly, I do. I think the whole thing was absolute bullshit. Ryan Potter is a classy, tough guy. Nobody speaks a bad word about this guy. Matter of fact, at the end of my fight, he walked over from the other corner and gave me a drink of water. Do you remember that, boy?
I do. I do remember seeing that.
And to have that many fights drop out on him, it's not fair. Somebody fight this guy. And I heard that Ryan was thinking about giving up fighting and just saying the heck with it because of all these disappointments. Ryan, do everybody a favor and hang in there, brother, and we will find somebody that will fight you. You deserve to fight. Everybody wants to see you fight. And as far as Jeff, dude, grow up or get the hell out of this sport, because I don't think you were in shape. I think you cowered out and you screwed your opponent.
So, Dana, everything you edited out of your speech that you put together and rehearsed today, Rick just said.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we talked about it earlier.
Just a small correction. I don't think Ryan said he was going to not fight anymore, but I think he said he was going to keep his energy more focused on training and teaching and working on his skills rather than focusing on fight camps for the next while. So, and I mean, you can't really blame the guy for that.
And that's what he told me too, Boyd. That is what he said to me.
Yeah, and you can't.
And I had heard a rumor about him possibly fighting Christian Savoy, or has anyone heard that? I don't know if that's true.
I don't know about that. I know Christian is going to be fighting in St. John for Elite One in front of his hometown at the end of May. So I'd be surprised if he had anything hooked up with anybody else. Or is that his fight in Moncton?
Yeah, I hadn't heard that.
Oh, sorry, is that his fight in St. John?
Could be a possibility.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
that would be a phenomenal fight.
Yeah.
I think so, too.
Oh, man, I don't want to drive all the way to St. John. But if that fight happens, I just might have to go do that. What do you think, Rick? Road trip?
Oh, I'm always up for a road trip. You know that. And we'll stop in on Greg.
Okay. As I knew would happen, the minutes are slipping away, and I do want to get into the sweet science portion of this card, of this show. So I do want to run quickly through the amateur portion of the card and then the pro portion of the card. We didn't know anything about Adam McDougall or Cody Glow going into this fight, and it ended in, as often does with amateur fights and guys who are fairly novice, in the first minute of the first round. How did that fight play out? Was it one-sided? Was it evenly matched? Sort of why did it go down so quick as it did? Amy or Dana, either of you, feel free to jump in.
Amy, I'll leave this one to you. That's the one fight I missed.
Okay, sure. The one thing about that was that Adam McDougall, it was the very first show he'd been at, even, like, he'd never been to a show as a spectator.
Wow.
Which was hilarious. So that was, I thought that one went to the third round. There was 54 seconds in the third round by rear naked choke.
It says on top of MMA News, it says round 1, 54 seconds.
Okay.
Is that not right?
That was incorrect. I believe it did go to the third round. Yeah.
Oh, it was third round.
Yeah,
okay,
no,
that sounds like it was an awesome fight.
It went to the third round. Yeah, it was a great fight. And Adam Burke, he'd been training for a 4-week training camp. He was in the best shape of his life, he said. He was confident with his coaches. He looked good. He looked really good. He wished he was a little more technical, he said. He said maybe the lights was a little too much for him, but I thought he did an amazing job. Yeah. Amazing job. And I spoke with Cody as well, too, and he said that he thought he had the upper hand, and he said he just felt like he got caught in that third round. But so respectful as well. He made sure he wanted me to say all the respect to his opponent and their team.
Awesome.
And he's learned, and he'll come back harder and stronger. So
good stuff. We had Nathan Burke, who was in the next matchup on the show last week, and we got an opportunity to see him fight here in Halifax. He fought Kyle Blinkhorn, and we were just so impressed with that kid. And we had an awful lot of confidence for him going into this fight. And he if the mistake was not making this time, did manage to get a win in halfway through the first round. Is that correct?
That's
right.
And how
did he
look? He looked good.
Oh, he looked amazing.
Very aggressive. The guys are new, and it's certainly it's a loose style of fighting when you're that new. But they were both really game and willing to put it out there and go for the win. But Nathan's a very powerful. He looked really big. I think it was a 145 match, and he looked really good size, very stocky guy. And I've met him a couple of times. He's actually been in and trained at our gym, and he's got a really tough disposition. He's a tough kid. I think he's going to do really well. He's got places to go.
Sweet. And now a fight that I was really looking forward to was the Jericho McPhee fight. How did that fight go down?
First time Jericho's went the distance. That's his first time doing that. So it was a really good fight though. It was that Derek Pike. He came from Ontario, so he was a little overweight. He didn't make weight, so they made it a catch weight. It was supposed to be 145, so they made it catch weight to 150. And it was a really good fight, really strong fight, and he won by technical knockout, I think, at the end, Jericho. But it's the first time he's had to go the distance.
Nice.
Derek, I guess Pike had taken the fight on relatively short notice after Jericho lost an opponent. He had a great chin, and Jericho did hit him with a lot of good shots. After the first round, because they had really went after it in the first, they were both pretty tired. But it was a good fight, and I had a chance to chat with Jericho back, and he was disappointed that he didn't have the energy to go the distance, but he knows that that's where you're going to learn a lot. That's a lot of valuable ring time right there, so he's thankful for it, I think.
Absolutely, excited to see those boys back in action, and I really hope this card does end up either on the internet or on the Fight Network sometime soon, so I can check that out. Trent Moses and Matthew Mazeral. I know Matthew was in your heart, Amy, but the fight didn't go his way. Yeah,
why don't you take this, Dana? I'm too biased.
Yeah, well, I know Trent. He trains here at Evolution in Fredericton, and he's a good wrestler, has a great wrestling background, but his striking looked really improved. So he looked good and really well prepared. And I was impressed with Matthew Mazeral in the past. He's looked really good, and he has strong grappling. But I think when the fight sort of came right down to it, I think Trent was just a little too fast and a little too athletic, and was able to put it on Matthew there and get the TKO finish.
Nice. Sean Wallace, Jeremy Henry, I think was my favorite fight going into this card. Two obviously quite experienced and very talented mixed martial artists, but Sean Wallace, even from when he was fighting a couple of years ago, just seemed unstoppable, and that turned out to be the case again last weekend. One of you break down how that fight went. It did make it into the second round, but Sean was able to eventually get the submission.
Yeah,
go ahead, Dana.
I mean, I trained Sean. I awarded Sean Wallace his blue belt before he relocated to PEI, and he's a purple belt now with Wolf Run, and those guys are really tough over there. And I'm like you, Boyd. I mean, Jeremy Henry's just one of my favorite guys in MMA, and we shared the locker room with Jeremy, and I always enjoy seeing those guys fight. It was a great fight. Sean had a bit of an advantage on the ground, and that in the end is sort of where he won the fight. But Jeremy didn't give up anything. It was by no means an easy fight for Sean. Both those guys look great. Sean, I mean, I think this puts him a step closer to maybe title contention. And Jeremy, I don't think this sets him back too far. I think he'll be able to bounce back with another good fight. He still looks great.
I agree as well. I spoke with Jeremy after, and he's nothing but game. He said all he did was get off his cage dust, and he's ready to go again. So I was really happy to hear that. He didn't lose any enthusiasm at all. And Sean too. Sean said it was funny because he was drilling that exact transition from back mount to arm triangle, but just before he went out in his warm up. So it was really cool. He got to, when you actually get to use that. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I agree with you guys that there's no losers in that fight because they were very evenly matched. And everybody knows both those guys really know what they're doing in there. But Sean, having that unbeaten record, he's going to be a guy that's either going to get a great fight coming up, or he's going to fall into Ryan Potter category, and it's going to be impossible to match him up. AKA Gavin Tucker and Pat Carroll, a couple of guys that we keep trying to see in the cage here and only get a chance to do every year or so. Justin Bourgeois, Tommy Cote. Tommy Cote was fairly highly touted coming into this one, but Justin managed to pull out a unanimous decision.
Yeah, he did. That was a great fight. The way Justin, there were some arm bars there that Justin got out of that I could not believe it. That was amazing. Tommy Cote, he had pretty good ground game, and I thought Justin was going to have to tap, but there's no tap in Justin, I guess. I mean, but he used a lot of his wrestling, a lot of takedowns, really, really smooth, and just kept putting the pressure on. And it was a great matched up fight. But Justin, I thought that he was dominating each round a little bit. So I thought it was really really strong.
Dana, what do you think it was that gave him the edge? Because I mean, it was 30-27 across the board. So what was it that really set him up as the winner in the judges' minds?
Well, his takedown. First of all, Justin's always just had great striking to takedown transitions. He's really good on his feet. He has great, tremendous boxing, and always has good, slick takedowns. And he really dominated where the fight went. And props to Tommy Cote. He looked pretty good off his back, and I think he's used to playing there. But at the same time, he's on his back, and he was on the receiving end of most of the damage. To me, it was a clear victory for Justin. He dominated. I talked to Justin after. That's not the fight that any fighter wants to fight. But we're out there fighting to win. And he was telling me that before the fight that he wants to take his family down south. So he had a lot invested in this fight. So I was so happy to see him win.
Yeah, Rick and I were talking about that just the other day, actually. You can't always make every move in a fight to please the crowd. Sometimes you just got to go out there and get your win any way you possibly can.
Absolutely.
Amy, I'm going to throw this one to you because Dana probably was a little bit too close to this one, but we had Adam Hunter defeating Chris Johnson, first round KO. What was it? Was it 27 seconds?
I mean,
that means Adam Hunter in his last two fights has a grand total of 35 seconds fight time.
Wow, it's crazy. Now, obviously, I mean, it was insane. I mean, Chris did rock him once. And I think after that, I think Chris got maybe a little too confident too there, and that's. I mean, it was very short, right? To think of all these things going on, but 27 seconds in that cage is a lot longer than 27 seconds for the crowd. But yeah, it was just unbelievable. And going right from our 145 fighters to bam, these big beasts in there, right? And I know that training with Chris, I know Chris had a little bit of leg issues and stuff going on too, but he said he wasn't backing down or whatever. And Adam's a beast.
So Dana, what was your read on the fight? I mean, 27 seconds is not an awful lot of fight to break down, but from a coaching perspective, how did the fight go as far as you're concerned?
It was executed perfectly on our end. I have experience. I fought Chris before and prepared to fight Chris before. And, we have such a great team of guys that, working together, Brandon Brewer, Mike Fitz, and myself, and we just felt like we had Adam covered everywhere. And, it's a game of chance out there. There's no question. You can put all your technique to the test, but at the end of the day, a lucky shot it happens all the time. And these guys were going out throwing. And, Chris was rocked in the first exchange, and he came back and rocked Adam, and then Adam came back and knocked him out. I mean, it really was one of those fights where these guys they both had bad intentions, and they were looking for the finish. So it was exciting for sure. I know I was.
Oh, I wish it could have been another 27 seconds.
I agree.
Reminds me a lot.
And I think everybody walks away feeling that way. But, hey, we were pretty happy to stand up there in the cage with our arms around the champ.
It reminds me a lot of Ricky Goodall and Richard Arsenal too, because those guys had an absolute 5-round war the first time they fought, and they said going into the second fight, no, that's not happening this time. They told the fans, like, don't bother buying an extra beer or anything. This one's going to be over quick, and that's exactly what happened. They met in the middle of the cage, and they threw until somebody fell down.
Absolutely.
Exciting stuff. Awesome.
So
well,
we're
thank
excited
you guys.
to see Adam is going to fight Eldrick Keith, or the rumor has it anyway, coming up. That's the fight we're hoping for.
Wow.
And that would, hopefully be for the 185 title. And that's where Adam is the most comfortable, is at 185. So I would say to people that are fans out there, keep an eye out for Adam. He's on a rampage. He's ready to go. So it should be an exciting year for him. I know
that is a hell of a fight.
He was here tonight to visit our jiu-jitsu class and brought the belt in and had a few words for the folks that were there. And we're just I just love Adam as a friend and a student. It was just so great to see him accomplish that. I'm really happy for him.
Awesome. And unfortunately for the MMA scene, Chris announced after that loss that he is stepping away from MMA. But we wish him absolutely nothing but the best in whatever he has in store down the road.
He's still going to fight in 100%. Hockey. Don't you worry.
I'm sure he will. I'm absolutely sure he will. Well, thank you, too, for joining us and breaking that down. And can't wait until you're hopefully both able to do the same thing for us in St. John.
Absolutely. May 30th in St. John. So keep an eye out for, I think they're going to release the card this week coming up, and tickets will be going on sale. So it's exciting times here in New Brunswick.
See you there, Dana.
You got it, buddy. See you. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Well, Rick, that took a little longer than I had expected, but let's jump right into the boxing portion of the card. Sitting in the queue right now, we have a guy that you and I have had an opportunity to train with a little bit and watch fight, Jesse MacMillan. Jesse, sorry for making you wait, brother. Are you there?
Yeah.
Oh, we can't hear you.
Hello?
Oh, there you go. We got you.
Hey, I'm sorry. I got it on speakerphone now. That's all right. I couldn't hear you before.
Okay, yeah. If you take it off speakerphone, I think you'll have better success. I'm not sure, but you're clear right now. Whatever you're doing.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Whatever you're doing right now, we'll stick with that. Listen, man. Something that I've wanted to ask you every time I've walked past you in the gym in the past 3 or 4 years. Every dude seems to be rolling around in a gi or training MMA, and you are spending all of your time on boxing. How did that come about? How did you end up training boxing and not only training, which some guys do for fun, but actually getting in there as a pro fighter?
Good question. Well, I started out, in fact, just a huge fan of MMA. I started off, back in 2005, 2006 with just a fan of the Diaz brothers, and then I had every intention of doing the MMA, and then I ended up at Kemp Road when the gym was there at the garage, and I did a couple Muay Thai classes, and then I figured I'd try the boxing, and then the second week I was there, Tyson had me sparring, and I just said, hey, I'm gonna do this, and I figured, I'll try the jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai and everything, and then I had a couple fights scheduled, and I just said, hey, I'll focus 100% on boxing, and then a year later I ended up just turning pro with no fights, and I just said, hey, I'm just going to focus on this 100%,
Rick, I'm going to ask you to jump in because I know you're just itching.
Oh, yeah, I am. Jesse, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. It's a real pleasure to have you on here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be on, man. Thanks for having me.
So let me ask you this now. We're seeing something a little bit different out of you than what we're seeing out of a lot of the younger guys. You came into the gym with an interest in MMA. You kind of tried out some different things and settled into boxing. What was it about boxing that really attracted you?
Good question. I think just the sparring, you know what I mean? I know you obviously spar in Muay Thai and everything, but I think Peter wants you to have you got to kind of have a base before you can really spar MMA, you know what I mean? You got to have a little bit of jiu-jitsu, a little bit of wrestling, a little bit of Muay Thai kickboxing before you can jump in and spar complete MMA. So I think, just probably lack of patience. I was in there just punching, and I was comfortable with that. You know what I mean? That had that got the urge to fight out of me. So and we sparred a lot, Tyson. So many people came and still do come in at the gym. You spar and you realize, you don't want to fight and you quit. You guys see it. Lots of people come in and they try it, but yeah. So I just stuck with that.
It's awesome because you went right for the full contact, the sparring, which, normally we see people coming into the gym for the first time trying to avoid that portion of it. They don't want to get the strikes to the head. And you seem to gravitate towards it, which is pretty interesting. I see you in there as a very dedicated person day after day, at least once a day, if not twice a day. And I watch you out of the corner of my eye. And in the last 2 years, although your physical structure does not seem to have changed much, the power that you seem to throw with is almost double what it was 2 years ago. What do you account that to?
Technique. Well, they say you're either born with power. Some guys are punchers and some guys aren't, but you can somewhat improve your power. You can get stronger and just better technique. I'm still not at full technique yet. Throwing a right hook or throwing a left hook. A straight right. I'm still not at 100% technique. But and 2 years ago I was even less. So just as your technique gets better, your punching power improves. But I'm a long, lanky guy, but I generate a lot of leverage. So, but it's just all the training and technique, man. That's basically it, and strength training, getting stronger, growing. But yeah, mainly technique, man.
Now, the other thing I would ask you would be that we've often heard it referred to as a sweet science. And when I say that to you, when I say boxing is a sweet science, give me just a quick answer of what that means to you.
Well, I've heard it referred as a chess game. A chess game at 1,000,000 miles an hour. But yeah, it's it's hard to explain. Because right now, I'm more of a brawler right now than a boxer. But when I think of that, I just think of a fast-paced chess match. And Yeah, basically.
Jesse, what weight class are you fighting at, and what's your record right now, and what's coming up next for you?
Right now, my next fight is this Friday, actually, in Montreal. Me and Tyson both fight on the same show, and that'll be at 132 pounds, which is it's a catch weight. It's in between super featherweight and lightweight, but it's against a guy 2-0 from Quebec. His name's Golden Garcia. My record right now is 0-1-2. I got a loss and 2 draws. So yeah, I'm still looking for that first victory. But
it was funny.
I feel success. Pardon me?
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah,
I'm still looking for that first victory, but I still feel successful. I still feel like I'm growing, and I'm going against the grain. And not many people have started off with no amateur fights. Something I would have liked to have, but I'm going against the grain. I'm learning on the job. So
it's such an intriguing. It's such an intriguing story because you take a guy that you know exceptionally well, Tyson. What did Tyson have? Like 125 amateur fights before he turned pro, and you turned pro with no fights. And as you say, you're learning on the job in an absolutely violent sport where people you're coming up against have probably been training since they were children and have amateur records and stuff. So, like Rick said, it's a very interesting story, and that's one of the reasons why we really wanted to get you on the show, because you are sort of coming at this from a very, very different angle than most people see. The last time I saw you fight was in Africville. And when you say I'm still a brawler and not a boxer yet, I don't know if you're not a boxer, but you're sure as hell a brawler in that fight. Like, you got really emotionally charged in that fight from a guy who's been watching boxing since I was about 10 years old. Not used to seeing guys get so emotionally involved in a fight. You just looked angry in that fight, especially as it ground on. Is that something that you want to take into fights, or is that something that you're working on?
Yeah, no. I watched the fight before, and I've seen, I've said a few things, but I think it came off more angry, and I think I was trying to get in his head, trying like, a Nick Diaz approach, somebody talking in front of you. But I'm still learning that. I should just stick to fighting and the talking to, someone else. But yeah, no, I think I just, sometimes I'll get hit in sparring, and my response is, you got nothing, and to some people that could intimidate you, or that could get in your head. So yeah, that's where that was coming from. But
cool.
But yeah.
Man, well, thanks for joining us for a few minutes, and best of luck on your fight coming up. As we do with every fighter we bring on, I want to give you a minute to give a shout-out to the people who support you, any sponsors you might have, and any people who make it possible for you to do what you do.
Perfect. Thanks, Boyd. Well, I don't have any sponsors currently, but I definitely got a whole team of killers behind me that have been there for a while. Right now, James Dow is a guy who's put a lot of time in with me. He's trained me for my first fight, and he's trained me for, the past few months for this fight. He's been around the gym for a while, helping me out. He's taken me to New Brunswick. We went to New Brunswick 2 weeks ago for a night. I sparred there with Brandon Brewer. You're familiar with the name, Canadian middleweight champion. He did some work with me, and Eastern Canadian middleweight champion Travis Connors was there. So I'm definitely grateful to have that kind of sparring there, and to have somebody like James to take me down there. And just all my sparring partners, man. Dan Treneman's around the gym, Bunny Phillips, Shane Upshaw, I've sparred a lot with him, Bianca Paquin, who's an orthodox fighter, a right-hander who's fast, who's going to show that look that my opponent is going to have. A lot of rounds with Tyson, who's a southpaw, but it's still world-class sparring. So, I have a whole team behind me. You see me fight, but it's months and months of preparation before, but it's these guys. It's the guys I spar with, and James, and these guys on pads that have have improved me, you know. So I'm definitely grateful to have those guys behind me.
Awesome, brother. Thanks again. And best of luck in Montreal, and we'll see you as soon as you get back.
Yeah.
Sure, go ahead.
Sure, Boyd. And I was on your Facebook checking out when this was going to be played. I noticed your birthday's tomorrow, so happy early birthday, man.
Oh, man, it's too bad you told Rick that. Now I don't know what's going to happen.
All right.
Take it easy, man. Talk soon.
Yes, thanks a lot, Rick. Thank you guys so much.
Cheers, mate. You didn't have to tell me it was your birthday, buddy. I could tell from the gray in your beard on the weekend you were getting older.
Yeah, I rolled with a new guy. I rolled with a new guy at the gym tonight, and he was kind of looking at my very snowy white beard as we were about to roll, and I said, "Keep in mind, I'm old for a reason, man." So
I wonder if your unibrow will turn gray. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Well, if it does, then it'll be a little more transparent, so at least we got that. We're having trouble getting Tyson on the line. I have two numbers for Tyson, and Skippy was trying the first one and wasn't able to get him, so I just sent him the second one, so hopefully he can get in here. So I do want to talk about Jesse for a second now that he's off the line. Rick, you've had a chance to be in the ring and do a little bit of sparring with Jesse, haven't you?
Yeah, I have, and I've seen a tremendous change in that guy. And you know what caught me there, Boyd, when you did the introduction, you said, you know, the majority of the guys, we see him in gis down rolling around. And this is a guy that went in, took a look at that and said, no, that's not my thing. And we kind of have how do I put this? We kind of underestimate, I think, sometimes what boxing can bring to MMA. And if we see this guy start in that direction, who knows what we may see down the road. And even if he doesn't make that transition, to find the sport that he loves and to put himself into it the way he does, I mean, you've got to support it. You've really got to pat him on the back and say, great job, man. Yeah, and very disappointing to hear him say that he doesn't have any sponsors at this point, not a single sponsor. I mean, that's an absolute crying shame. It is, especially when you have someone that loves the sport as much as he does. And we all know that boxing is going through a lot of difficulty right now. But I'll tell you, it's a great sport, and it's not called the sweet science for nothing. There is a tremendous amount of technique to that sport, and I love it. I love watching it. I mean, you know, I think those guys are underestimated when it comes to MMA because, hey, let's face facts, all MMA fights start on their feet, and that's their advantage. So I don't think we see the full potential of striking, and I think we're going to see more of it as boxing integrates a bit more into the sport. Yeah, and I'm glad you said that the second time because you kind of tweaked a little bit. It's not that we I think overlook boxing or underestimate boxing. I think it's overlooked. I mean, people focus so much on the Muay Thai and they focus so much on the wrestling and the jiu-jitsu that, I think you're 100% right. If somebody was spending a hell of a lot more time working on a jab or footwork, there's a novel idea. Let's not be standing in front of the guy when he tries to hit you. If guys were focusing on that, I think we would see much more technical fights. We would see better fights. We'd see knockouts where guys are just kind of getting peppered now. I mean, those MMA gloves are pretty small. If you got a top-notch boxer who doesn't get taken down and can put a strong right hand on somebody, we're going to see some awesome knockouts. Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you, I'm a big fan of it. I love the entire sport of MMA and all of the the basic sports that make it up, jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai and wrestling. But I love the sport of boxing. I love to sit down and watch two guys bang it out. So to me, there's a lot of interest there. Hopefully on a professional level, on a world stage level, that sport can organize itself because it's killing itself right now. I mean, we do have the Pacquiao-Mayweather fight coming up,
and that certainly is going to get an awful lot of attention. But I don't know if that's sort of like more of a freak show fight. That's really only an event in and of itself, or if it's going to rekindle some boxing interest.
Yeah. Well, it can't hurt. I mean, I don't know what else they could do. So let's put that together and see if that brings people back. That's the main thing.
Awesome. The man is here, the uncrowned WBA champion. Gonna do a couple of local fights in Canada, and then going to go back and grab that belt that's rightfully his. Tyson, sorry for the wait. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? What's going on the BS show?
Oh, we've just had an awesome chat with a kid that you know, a kid that you got into boxing. You poached him from Mr. Peter Martell when he came into Titans on Kemp Road. Before we talk about you and your upcoming fight, tell us a little bit about that kid and how he ended up not only doing some boxing lessons with you, but turning into a pro fighter sort of in your stable.
Well, Jesse's a real good kid. He walked into the gym. He wanted to do some fighting, and he has tremendous talent, and he's a tremendous fighter. He walked in the gym. He's been groomed around a lot of pro fighters his whole career. So, we made the decision, do you want to fight for trophies, or do you want to become a champion? And he gave me my answer, and he wanted to become a champion, and he's been a big help in my sparring partners for the last 4 or 5 years. He's going to truly be a champ someday.
And Rick commented on it just a little while ago. Even from us observers who are kind of outside what you guys are doing, just watching that kid over the last couple of years, you see how much he's improved. And I mean, he's kind of gone on this rise that you've had in the past couple of years, going fighting for a world title, getting ready to probably go back and fight for it again. Yeah, it must be awesome for him to kind of be carried along on that wave.
Well, listen, being a fighter doesn't matter if it's MMA or boxing, Muay Thai, or whatever. Being a fighter is very, very hard. You know what I mean? There's a lot of ups and downs in a fighter's career. Jesse, I think, is on a high right now because he's still learning. He's still a young kid. He's 23 years old. I'm 33. You know what I mean? He's young. He's still learning. He still has a lot of time to develop. And look where he's at right now. He's in there with some guys who've been in the gym for 10 years, and he's handled his business pretty easy some days, and some days he has hard days. And I think in the long run, you're going to see something tremendous out of the kid. And I'm just glad to be a part of it. I'm glad that he's a part of the Titans family.
Awesome. Okay, on to business. Mr. Tyson Cave, let's go back and talk about what happened at the WBA Super Bantamweight title fight not too long ago. Everybody who follows boxing knows exactly what happened, but the folks who don't follow boxing and follow this show and maybe are more into the MMA, you were involved in what many boxing outlets called the biggest robbery in, what, was it the year, or was it the biggest one of the biggest robberies in boxing history?
You said boxing history, but at the end of the day, this it's a business that it's a business, and the best thing that I need to do is move forward with my career. What I've done, you know what I mean. My name is still out there. I've got a tremendous TSN contract, and I'm just pushing forward. I'm pushing forward with it, and my name's out there. His is not. Everyone knows who the champ is. The champ's from Halifax, Nova Scotia, trains in Titan Fitness Academy. Come along with some of the best trainers and the best fighters to come out of Canada, out of the world. So at the end of the day, I think that I'm the guy who's on top.
Tyson, that's an awesome perspective to have coming out of that fight. And you were saying that even I don't know if it was the night of, but even the next day, I think I saw an interview with you, and you had that exact same frame of mind. Was that how you felt even stepping out of the ring that night, or is that something that you had to work on to kind of frame that way?
I just had to, the best thing is people want. Hold on one sec. I just, the best thing for me to do was, how can I put it? At the end of the day, people said, Tyson, oh my God, you handled it so great, But, the true story is I was just exhausted. I was exhausted from a 12-round fight, on my first time on real big international TV. To tell you the truth, I wanted to curse and swear. I was just too tired, you know what I mean? And then I woke up the next day, and then I was just too tired to fight about it. Everyone knew who won the fight. I came back. I got tremendous love from my city, the Prince of Hali is who I am, and that makes me even prouder to have the nickname the Prince of Hali, because Halifax and Canada and the world was behind me. So, I'm just very thankful for all the fans and all the fans that I made that night. I told everyone that I was the best in the world, and I just needed someone to give me a chance to prove it, and I think that I made my case that night.
Rick, jump in for a second.
I'd love to. Thanks so much for coming on, champ. It's always an honor to have you on here.
No problem.
Listen, bro, how many years have you been involved as a boxer? Like, how many years do you have in?
This is going on to my 18th year, man.
So 18 years. Now, my question to you is, and I've been in the gym a few times over the last couple of weeks, you're known as a loud, obnoxious, cocky son of a bitch. You take a shot at everybody when they come through the door. There's always a joke or a jab coming from Tyson's, wherever he is in the gym. This last couple of weeks, you've been very calm, very controlled. Is there something different this time?
I'm a world champion. That's the only thing that's different. I'm still the cocky asshole, obnoxious fucker that I am. But, like I said, you come to my gym, you got to earn a spot in my gym. And, Rick, you've trained there. Boyd, you've trained there. People who come around, you know what I mean? I don't take lightly to bullshitters, because, like I said, boxing is a rough sport. And MMA is a rough sport, and fighting alone is a rough sport. So, anyone who knows me knows I'm joking, and I have fun. We have people who just come in the gym, I think sometimes just to listen to some of the shit talking that we do. But, we train hard, we have fun, and at the end of the day, we produce winners. And
so to stand back 18 years of investing your life into a sport, do you feel that you're on the pinnacle of what you've always dreamed of right now? Like, is this what you've dreamed from the first time you stepped into that ring or the first time you saw boxing? Is that where you're at right now? And if so, explain how that feels.
Of course. There's a lot of great fighters to come out of Nova Scotia, and I've always said since I was a kid, and people thought that I was being, a dick by saying it, but, we have a lot of great fighters that come out of a lot of great boxers that come out of Nova Scotia, but, I don't care. I say it. I'm the greatest to ever come out of this province. I'm the greatest fighter to ever come out of it, and I prove it each and every time. Every time you put a opponent in front of me, this is the guy's going to knock Tyson out. This is the guy's going to do it. Finally, they said they had someone to do it, the number one guy in the world for a world title in the United States. And what did I do? I made easy work of them. So
Tyson, sorry, go ahead.
So like I said, I'm the greatest fighter to ever come out of this province, hands down. And I have no shame in saying it. And some might disagree and some might agree. But at the end of the day, it's all about what I think and what toots my horn at the end of the day. And every day I wake up and I walk down my stairs, I look at my beautiful family, I toot my damn fucking horn.
So, Tyson, what is the end result? What is the end of your dream? What are you going to accomplish beyond a shadow of a doubt? What are you going to be at the end of the day?
I'm going to, by the end of 2015, if Scott Quigg, Leo Santa Cruz, Carl Frampton, and Rigondo, and Escondón, the 5 champions, the 5 major champions, all stop talking their bullshit and fight each other and then fight me, I'll have each one of them belts. And then I'll see you guys down the dome and we'll have a big party. I might even let you in, Ricky.
So you believe beyond a shadow of a doubt that pound for pound, you are the best fighter in the world at this time?
Oh my God, I'm the best super bantamweight in the world, hands down. I could probably even beat half the featherweights. I know I can beat every bantamweight, but at 122 pounds, I proved it to the world. I proved it. It's Ricky, you see how good looking I am. I'm probably the best looking one too.
Next to me, my friend.
Let's not get Rick going on that.
Congratulations, brother, and good luck on your fight. You deserve it.
Thank
you, Tyson, a lot needs to line up. As always is the case, politics does creep into boxing, so a lot needs to line up for you to get your next shot, whichever of those champions it's going to be about, it's going to be with. But you're going to have to keep busy, and one of those busy fights is going to take place in Montreal in just a few days. So tell us a little bit about your opponent and what we can expect in that one.
You know, the biggest thing right now is what we're doing is, I just signed the TSN contract, and I fight March 27th against Abraham Gomez, the number 17th guy in the world, and then I just signed another contract this morning where I'm fighting April 29th in Winnipeg. We don't know which one of the top 15 guys yet, and then I'm fighting May 29th in Halifax, and then I'm fighting June 21st in Calgary. So I have 4 fights in 4 months. And then let me tell the world something. I'll tell the world something. I'm the most active fighter in the world at any weight class. And then I will be the number one contender again for the WBA. And then Escandón cannot run. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fight for $5. And I'm going to fight him in Halifax in September.
I'm loving what I'm hearing, Tyson. I'm loving what I'm hearing, brother. Absolutely fantastic. Before you get out of here, I do want to ask you something that I know is absolutely dear and near to your heart, and that is, how did you feel being cage side and in the back with Gavin Tucker when he won his first belt at ECC 22 a few weeks ago?
Oh, man, you saw me. I was a nervous wreck. I loved him, man. I love Gavin. You know, he's been with my stable and with Titan from the beginning. He's, for the Escandón fight, he was a huge contributing factor. You know, a lot of people said, how was I going to deal with Escandón's pressure and his power? But people didn't know that I had Gavin Tucker, the friggin' Viking warrior, crazy nut psychopath that he is, sparring with him for 6 weeks. And him just beating me on the ropes, beating me. And anyone who knows or trains with Gavin, he has no pity when he's in a cage or a ring. And for him to help me and then for me to be there, I had tears in my eyes. And I think Gavin is definitely a superstar. You think that I'm a superstar. No, Gavin's a real superstar in the gym. And he's a tremendous athlete. And I just love to be along for the ride with him and get to say that I know the kid. And, I just think that that he's not in the UFC yet. I think that they're crazy. I think they're ridiculous. It's kind of a bigger insult than what they did to me, not having that kid in the UFC, because he is definitely a superstar.
Awesome, brother. High praise coming from you. Unfortunately, when we spoke to Jesse, he broke the news to us that he doesn't have a single sponsor to thank, which I think is an absolute crying shame for a kid who's in there with so much potential and working so hard. But I will give you an opportunity to give a shout out to any of your sponsors and your supporters and the people that make it possible for you to go out there and show the world what Halifax has to offer.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Beater. I'd like to thank, Titan Fitness Academy, Modern Day Media, Rick Todd, Steve Lockyer, Up Your Game, the new app website that's out there. But just give the kid a couple more fights. He's still young. He's still a baby. I think he's, both young enough to be Rick's son. So, give him some time. Give him some time. But, he'll definitely get some sponsors and they'll come on board real soon.
Well, thanks a lot, champ. We'll be watching TSN. Check it out, March 27th. Tyson Cave, taking care of business.
Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good night.
Take care.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks, buddy. Bye-bye.
Rick, I know you like running a tight ship and you hate when we run overtime, but I think that one was worth every single second.
Oh, brother, it was great to have him on there and get his perspective. I mean, we stand back and we admire what Tyson did and where he's going to go, and he's that guy right now at the pinnacle of his career. He's saying, I'll fight anybody. I'll fight them. Bring them. let's cut through the politics because I'm here to fight. And that's the way he trains, Boyd. You know that, and I know that. I mean, who does more yelling about, come on, get in there, hit each other?
I mean, you're talking about a guy who just fought for a world title. I mean, the guys you expect to see fight maybe a couple of times a year, and he's going to fight 4 times in 6 weeks to get himself back, so that there's absolutely no way that the boxing community can deny him a rematch and a shot at that world title again. So, I mean, he's not – Lord knows Tyson likes to talk, but it seems like, as you pointed out, the talking is aside right now. He's just speaking with his feet and his fists, and he's just going to back the boxing world into a corner and make them give him what he knows is his. And it's pretty awesome to have a local guy doing that. It's absolutely fantastic. I'm super pumped to be going along for the ride.
You got to admire it. You really do. And we're behind him. We got his back on this.
Yeah, absolutely. Skippy, are you there?
I'm here, brother. It's a great show, man. Hey, and I'm going to tell you right now, dude, everybody, #FightersFighter. That is what Tyson is. When fighters look up to a fighter, that's the man they're looking up to.
Except nobody does actually look up Tyson, but hey, he took a shot at me. I'm allowed one back.
I do need to direct people to get out there online and please look up Tyson Cave versus Oscar Escandón, which was the fight that many in the boxing community said was the biggest rip-off or robbery in perhaps one of the top 3 or 4 anyway in all of boxing history. Teddy Atlas, during the actual broadcast of that fight, was so incensed that he actually said if he could do anything else for a job, he would quit boxing. He would quit commentating, being an analyst. He was so outraged at that fight. So it's a great fight to watch, but unfortunately the judges just completely shit the bed. So keep that in mind when you're watching. But score of the fight. Don't go look up the results. Go watch the fight. Score it yourself, whether you're an MMA or a boxing fan, and see how many rounds you give to Escandón and how many you give to Tyson Cave. Anyway, Rick, another one in the.
Hold on. I got 2 quick things. Did I see something from Maverick Oaks in Thailand? Did I read that somewhere?
He won.
Thank you. I am so glad you brought that up. He won his first match, quick first round KO, and he lost a close decision in his second fight for the title. And he said he's going back stronger next year and going to bring the Muay Thai title back to Canada. So congratulations to Maverick. Good to see Scott and those guys heading over to Thailand and representing Canada.
And number 2 thing that I want to point out, and Skip, I'd love to chat with you about this too, but it came up in tonight's show. We didn't touch on it that long, but we are going to have upcoming shows with the commission. I believe there should be a penalty if an acceptable explanation is not given why a fighter drops out of a fight at a professional level. This is something I would like to discuss because I know those penalties do exist, and I would like to know the criteria for them because there is no need of somebody dropping out of a professional fight 1 week or 1 day or whatever before that's been set if there's not a legitimate reason. There should be some sort of penalty that is paid by that fighter if it's not proven medically that there's an issue.
I agree. And before I let you boys wrap it up, great Canadian MMA going down this weekend on the Global Combat Network for free. Havoc FC 8. Do not miss it. If you're a fan of boxing, Friday night we got All-Star Boxing on there for free as well.
Awesome. And one Mr. Michael Mini Kent Spenline, I think just signed to fight for Havoc in maybe June.
Oh, right on.
Yeah,
big fan of that company.
He had an absolutely phenomenal fight here in Halifax at ECC 22 against Rick Pfeiffer. Just an absolute jiu-jitsu grappling wrestling clinic. He came out with the victory and won the ECC title. Him and Rick hung out a little bit after the fight. They became pretty good friends, and I think Michael has now agreed to fight one of Rick Pfeiffer's teammates in Havoc. So super good to see Michael moving a little bit outside the Maritimes for the first time in MMA. So congratulations to him, and we look forward to seeing that one. Hopefully you guys are streaming that one on Global Combat Network as well.
I'm pretty sure we're going to be with them for a while. This will be our second event with them, so it looks like we're going to be with them for a while. The Canadian MMA scene has been really good to us and coming to us to broadcast, so we're really happy to work with them.
And a little bit of grappling news. I heard the rumor recently that Submission Series has extended their contract with Global Combat Network as well. Did Carl pull that together while you were on vacation, or are you aware of that one as well?
He pulled that together while I was on vacation and finalized it, and I'm super excited because, you know, this event is no longer just a Canadian event. I mean, this is becoming worldwide phenomenon for this guy, Kat, and what he's doing by testing the world's best against Canada's best. It's an amazing platform. The guys he's bringing in from North America this year, or this event coming up in, I believe, June, is amazing. And the list
he's got a bunch of Cornelius's guys coming in from Atos. I think you guys are going to get somewhere in the vicinity of 10 to 20,000 people on that stream this time. I really, truly believe that that's going to happen, which is huge for a submission-only grappling show that started in, of all places, New Glasgow, Nova Scotia.
Amen.
And we're going to be hitting cities outside of the Maritimes in the coming year as well for submission series. And I know Kat's working on some just incredibly cool and exciting stuff. So stay tuned for that as well.
You guys?
Rick, what is the latest with you and the fisticuffs?
Oh, on the boxing?
Yeah.
Well, the event is set, to the best of my knowledge. I know Coach Martel was negotiating on the weekend. It's set for May 29th, and I'm set to fight a gentleman, Jamie Marshall, professional fighter. They've agreed on some things, but there's a few things that haven't been agreed on. So I don't want to say too much right now. I don't want to jinx it. And I don't want to say anything that may make my opponent back out before he signs the contract, to be honest.
Oh, well, yeah, you know, I think we'll call that from now on, we'll call that being pottered.
Yeah, all right. But if he wants to come, I'm going to bring it, and, let's go.
Good stuff. I'm pretty sure you can learn to box in, 8 or 10 weeks? That's possible, right?
I'm not going to box, man. I'm going to go fight.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect anything else. Skippy, great to have you back in the captain's chair, man. Great show as always, guys. Look forward to whatever's coming next. I know coming up in April, we got a couple of things planned. We are going to do another sort of MMA commission / doctor show. We're going to invite Savvy D back. We're going to have Ken Wood, our referee and commission expert, back on the show as well. And we're also going to do possibly a couple of ladies-only shows. You and I are going to take the night off. Amy is going to run the show along with Skip there. And she has a whole host of women in combat sports that we've been talking about getting on for many, many, many months. So looking forward to seeing that come together pretty soon. We've got some MMA ladies. We got some grapplers and all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah, we're going to test our first one with the live camera stream before long as well.
Yeah, absolutely. As a matter of fact, the local judo club near here did a over 30 years old fun jamboree judo competition just this past weekend, and I offered to live stream that for the local audience and family members and whatnot, and it worked out pretty well. Carl did tune in for a few minutes and mentioned to me that it was a little bit freezing and buffering at times, but I was over Wi-Fi and didn't have a landline, so hopefully I can tweak that up, and if we get some more events on a larger scale, Skip, maybe we can roll those out on the Global Combat Network as well.
Oh, amen. And for whenever your birthday is, I'm going to buy you a 100-foot CAD 5 cable. How's that?
That would be phenomenal. My birthday is tomorrow. That would have come in incredible. That would have been incredibly handy if I would have had that on the weekend because that Wi-Fi was painful.
Well, the bright side of that having to do some buffering, we actually did get an opportunity to see your entire match, Boyd. So,
yeah, I did actually. I don't actually know judo, but I did volunteer to go into the competition. My daughter guilted me into it. She said I didn't have to if I didn't want to, but it was a lot of fun and a great way to learn. So how could I not? So I think I lasted a grand total of 30 seconds.
Very quick.
Yeah, just like Rick's love life. I lasted 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, guys. I don't have the show totally planned out for next week. I'll pull that together as quickly as I possibly can. If there are any listeners, fighters, promoters, coaches, anybody out there who knows that there's something cool going on, please reach out and we'll try to get the show organized as quickly as we can the next day or so. As I say always, I was going to say wear your sunscreen. That's actually not what it is. That's enough BS for one night.
See, he's stealing all of my shit tonight. He can't think for himself. So screw it, just like our Facebook page, okay? Have a good night,
Thank you,
everybody.
my short-peckered friend.
Welcome to the BS Show. Are you ready to shoot the... The BS Show would like to thank their sponsors. Jack Cameron, accredited mortgage professional. Jack can show you the way home. Graco Impact Sports, providing top-quality combat sport equipment tested and used by all levels of athletes. Dominate your world. RepoSales.ca, specializing in vehicle and equipment recovery, liquidation, and sales. Hemmings House Pictures, the global movement media makers, helping tell your brand story to the world and accelerate the momentum of your movement. Farmbox Films, capturing stories the way you want to remember them.